Link, the hero of legend and Hyrule. What more needs to be said? Link's lore has a few dark patches of where us, the fans, would like some clarity on. Greetings, Zelda fans and YouTubers. I am Clint's brother, and I'm here to talk about Fierce Deity and my theory on some of his origins. I apologize on pronunciation. That's just always how I've pronounced it since I was a child. I know a few of you might say this or that, but it's at the point it's at. Well, let's get down to business. I want to compare two different timelines. The timeline where the hero is defeated and the child era timeline. And more particularly, the Majora's Mask and Link Between the Worlds games. Now, everyone can agree that both games are influenced heavily by another world. Majora's Mask by Termina and A Link Between the Worlds by Lorule. A lot of what I might say is going to be grasping for straws, but let's face it, this timeline kind of feels like it was pulled out of nowhere. Anyways, it is a fact that Demise was a demon god and or king, but more particularly an embodiment of all evil. And because the original Link in Hyrule Historia failed to kill Demise, the goddess Hylia preserved his spirit by having him being reincarnated whenever she was in danger. And in the same sense, she would be reincarnated. Plus, after the first reincarnation Link defeated Demise, he placed a curse that his descendants would always come after them. Okay, this has been established. Now, what I'm going to do is attempt to compare this with Fierce Deity. The common thing amongst other theorists is that Fierce Deity is that world's hero spirit, and I agree with this representation. I could go into detail on because he looks like adult Link, and he sounds like him, and this and that, but I won't digress on that. From the manga, it is known that Majora was a dragon that was essentially stopping life from progressing. Well, more like stopping anything from doing anything. Even though countless warriors fought him, they all failed, until a godlike person appeared representing the Fierce Deity figure. We all know this. The part I am interested in is after he finishes playing the song for 3 days and nights and seals Majora's power in the mask of the dragons, when he took the dragon's armor and carved the mask out of it. But before I get into that, I want to talk about different worlds. This is the part where you guys might hate me, and I feel that Link Between Worlds and Majora's Mask happened in the same dimension. Not at the same time, mind you, but that Termina and Lorule actually existed in the same world. The reasons for that is both seem like a twisted version of the land of Hyrule, or more particularly the world of Hyrule, for the simple fact that both seem to be in turmoil, almost as if the land has not been blessed. I say this because in A Link Between Worlds, Lorule had not received the same blessings from the Triforce that the land of Hyrule had. Now, to grasp a few more straws, Hylia could be thought of as a goddess of time because of the fact that Zelda is a reincarnation of her as the Sage of Time, and is followed by the Aspect of Time in a few of the stories, for example, Skyward Sword. However, it is apparent that Hilda is not on the same level as Zelda when it comes to the possession of these godlike traits, and even in Link's counterpart, Ravio. Ravio does not have the same courage as Link does, and we can pretty much assume the same physical prowess as Link. But then again, like I said, my hands are getting pretty full of these straws. So the Goddess of Time uses her power to reincarnate the spirit of the hero and herself to stop the embodiment of evil, Demise. Remember, all of this is in the child era. Now, let's jump to an alternate timeline where A Link Between the Worlds happens. I already discussed about Lorule's and Termina's depraved state, but let's look at where they're at. They exist in an alternate world that can have alternate possibilities. However, one thing is for certain, there does exist a goddess of time in some form. This is made true by when Tattle begged the goddess for more time during the fight with the Skull Kid. Now that I've built up my case, here is my theory. Majora is the embodiment of evil for the alternate world, and the Fierce Deity is that world's version of the hero. After he defeats Majora, he somehow receives an injury that will kill him. Whether it is through some act of Majora or through the actual process of sealing Majora in the mask, I am unsure. Seeing that he is about to die, the goddess of time from the alternate world acts quickly because she knows that only he can finally stop Majora and seals Fierce Deity's essence in a mask. Basically, all of his demonic godlike powers would be his essence. She then uses what's left of her own strength to not only reincarnate the spirit of Fierce Deity, being Ravio's bloodline, but also herself into Hilda's bloodline. She would use Fierce Deity's power in the reincarnation of Fierce Deity, but for the sole fact that a mortal would have a very difficult time being reincarnated with these powers, and he could possibly bring the end of the world should he succumb to the darkness. Now, going off of how Hylia reincarnated the spirit of the hero and herself, keeping in mind that Link was not a god, imagine her having to do the same thing, but with a god, whom was probably at least equal to her in power. I feel that she would not have the strength to pass on the same traits to both bloodlines that Hylia passed on to her home, assuming both goddesses are equal in power. This could explain why Hilda and Ravio were not on par with Link and Zelda. Also, to take further note, Yuga fused with Ganon from Hyrule. Why wouldn't Yuga fuse with the Ganon from Lorule if in fact he never existed? What if the strong demonic power that could stop the goddess of time was slain? This could be true because Majora's Mask did happen before A Link Between Worlds. Anyways, thank you for listening. I know that a lot of you people will not agree with me, but hey, that's okay. If you want to, please leave comments, but just remember, be gentle. As always, be proud to be a Zelda fan.